Hey everyone, welcome. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a membership website. Now I've received a lot of requests from a lot of you out there asking me to put up a tutorial on how to create a membership website, so here it is. Before I really get into too much of the details, I'm just going to show you a demo of how everything will work if you follow this tutorial step by step. Now, just so you know, I will be dividing this tutorial up in two sections. You can see that in the description below. The first section is setting up this website that you see here. Everything you need to set up this website using WordPress and getting you online and ready. The second step will be installing and configuring the membership functionality so that certain pieces of information on your site are locked to paid members only. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. I'm going to show you how to monetize your membership website, how to get paid, and all of that is going to be contained within this one tutorial. So before we start, let me give you a quick demonstration of how everything will work if you follow this tutorial step by step. So here's a quick demo. This is exactly what a user would see. They would be able to see any posts that are not locked down to a particular membership level. However, anything that is, they would see two options: the ability to log in for people who are already members and the ability to register. So if I click the register button, so for now they'll see these membership levels. Yep, Fishing Masterclass Gold, $1 now, 15 per month. Yes, that sounds good. I'll select. They will be asked to create an account. If they've already got an account, they can log in here. So as you can see, the interface is actually very nice and clean and user-friendly. And a password. And they'd enter their own email address. And then they'd be able to check out. So they can pay with credit card or they can pay via PayPal. Okay, so it's been authorized and now they'll be clicking this button to complete payment. There we go. There is a live transaction of what the members see from their point of view. So they'll receive this thank you notification. Thanks for joining. Below are your membership account details. And furthermore, they will receive an email in their email inbox with their member details. So then what I would do as a user or a new member, I would probably view my membership account, view all of my details. And now if I go back and access the home page, you'll see that this post that was previously locked down, I can now access. So this post could have been anything. It could have been a podcast, it could have been a video, anything that's restricted or locked for access, they can now access as a paid member. So there you go, there is a live transaction. As I mentioned to you before, we will create a membership website based on the WordPress platform. So I will teach you how to use the WordPress platform if you do not already know how to use it. It's actually a free platform. It's very easy to use. And I'm just going through a list of notable users on my screen here. You can see there are some massive names worldwide that rely on WordPress for their websites. It's extremely easy to manage, extremely user-friendly, and it's very, very easy to learn. So you'll be an expert by the time this video is finished. Okay, so here is a quick overview of what we are going to cover in this tutorial. First off, we will get you online. So this is specifically for those of you who do not currently have a website and need to get up and running so that you can actually have the fundamental things that are required for you to actually have a website and then move on to setting up your membership functionality. However, if you already have a WordPress website and you don't need to set one up, then you can skip that step and move straight to the second segment of this tutorial. Just look in the description of this video below and you will be able to see where I start the setting up of the membership functionality. So you can just go and skip straight to that section. Okay, so for people that need to get online first, what you're going to need, and these are two essentials, are a domain and web hosting. A domain is essentially your .com domain name, and web hosting is just a fancy way of saying a computer where all of your website files are stored so that your membership customers or your website visitors can access it 24/7. Basically, having a domain without having web hosting is simply a blank page. These are two absolute essentials you need to run any website. After we cover this, we will move on to the membership functionality. We will be installing a plugin called Paid Memberships Pro, and that will cost you $0. I'll show you how to install that for free. Then we'll be setting up our PayPal account. That's another thing that doesn't cost you any money. And thirdly, I'll show you how to set up and configure everything so you can define your membership levels and then bill your customers on a one-off or a recurring basis, and the money will go straight into your PayPal account. So I'll show you how to set all of that up. Our to-do list: first we'll get a domain and hosting, then we will install our website and design. Thirdly, we will set up and configure the membership functionality. And then finally, I'll come back and show you how to set up the rest of the website. So I'll be showing you all the little options that you have to make all the adjustments you need to make your website look good. So that's the order in which I'm going to attack this tutorial. If you want to skip to any of these sections, just look in the description below and you'll find the links. So let's start with number 1, get a domain and hosting. The place where I get my domain and hosting is HostGator.com. HOSTGATOR. Now these are one of the world's most popular and well-respected hosting companies, and I've been using them for around 9 or 10 years for all of my websites and blogs and one of my e-commerce stores as well. They've got great support, as you can see here, a 24/7 support line, a toll-free number. In a nutshell, they're great to work with and the service just works. So now click on the web hosting section. You'll see that you're presented with 3 plans. Now these 3 differ in very slight ways. Now this business plan has a free private SSL and toll-free number, something we don't need. The Hatchling and Baby are actually very, very similar, except the Hatchling allows you to host a single domain, whereas the Baby allows you to host unlimited number of domains. Now for our purposes, most of you out there will have just a single domain, so the Hatchling plan will suffice. Now you can always upgrade down the track if you are going to be adding more .com domains to your account for whatever reason, so you can always upgrade down the track. But for now, the Hatchling plan will suffice, and it's also the cheapest. So click on the Sign Up Now button, and you'll see this page here. Okay, so there are 2 tabs. If you already own a domain, enter your domain in here. However, I think most of you will want to register a new domain, and in that case, enter your selected or your desired domain name in this field here. So let's try. In our case, for the purposes of this demo, I might register one called membershipdemo.com. What it will do is check to see if the domain that you entered is available. And as you can see here, this one is unavailable. Now just so you know, it's not essential that you do purchase a .com. The .org, .net, all of these other extensions function in exactly the same way that a .com functions, and it will make no difference to the setting up of your membership site. So if you wanted to go ahead and select any one of these other extensions, then do that. It won't make any difference whatsoever. But for me, it's just a personal preference that I choose a .com domain. It's just something that I personally like to do. So this one's not available. Maybe I will choose or try and see if one called jimsmembershipdemo.com is available. And as you can see, this one is. So what it will do is when you've entered a domain that is available, it will add it to your shopping cart, and then you can move on to the next step. Now you'll notice here that we've selected Hatchling. The billing cycle, you've got a few billing cycle options to choose from. I normally select the 12-month option, so I pay on a yearly basis. And you'll notice here it says 20% off. In a minute, I'm going to show you or give you a coupon code to get a even bigger discount than the standard 20% off. So bear with me, I'll show you that in a minute. So for now, I'll be choosing the 12-month billing cycle. You can do the same. You can also choose a monthly cycle if you're not comfortable with the 12-month or any other billing cycle. So maybe you want to just see how this goes and choose a 1-month billing cycle. I'll also give you a coupon code for that in a second. For now, let's choose 12 months. Enter a username and security PIN. Then go down. I will skip this section for the time being. I'll show you the rest of the options. Now in the section called additional services, I'd like you to deselect any of the items that are automatically selected in this area. That's just because they are not absolutely essential for you to start your membership site, and just so you know, I don't personally use any of these myself, so there's no reason for you to do that either. So you can deselect any of those upsells, then go down and you'll see a section where you've got the option of entering a coupon code, as well as it will give you your amount due. Now keep in mind, okay, at the moment it is $79. This coupon code that will appear for you is the default 20% off. Instead of that, use this coupon instead. MyHostMost, MyHostMost. Click this validate button over here and you'll see this amount due is less than it was with the other coupon. That's because this coupon will always give you a bigger discount than the default that HostGator gives you. So please do take advantage of that. Now go up and complete all of your billing details. Now, as you would understand, I'm just going to blur my screen here because I do not want to share with the public my personal billing details and credit card details. So feel free to follow along with me now. I'm just going to blur my screen as I enter all this stuff in. And you've got the option of paying by credit card or PayPal. Okay, so when you've entered in all of your credit card and billing info, by the way, please make sure that the email address you enter in these fields here are accurate, because you will receive a confirmation email from HostGator confirming your purchase and giving you your new account details for you to log in and continue with the next steps. Now go down and just ensure that everything looks right to you, and when you're ready, click on this agree to the terms and conditions checkbox and check out. Next, you will receive this email from HostGator confirming that you have successfully opened your new account. It will give you your account details such as your control panel link, your username and password. These are the important bits of information we'll need to go to the next step. By the way, if you haven't already received this email from HostGator within the next 10 to 15 minutes, just contact me on emediacoach.com/help and give me some of your details and I will assist you the best I can. So the next step is to install the WordPress platform. To do that, we'll need to access our control panel, which is this link here. So the best thing, just right click and open this link in a new tab. On this screen here, enter the username and password that you're given over here. So that's our username and that is our password. So enter these bits of information on this screen here, and you'll be able to log in to your dashboard. So I'll just copy and paste mine in. Just make sure when you're copying and pasting that you do not leave any blanks after it, otherwise it will not allow you to enter your control panel. This is what your HostGator control panel will look like, and it's not a section that you will access very often. In this occasion, all we need to do is install the WordPress platform, and from there on in we probably won't access this again. You might access it to do other things like backing up your account, which you can do from the backup wizard here, or setting up an email address, which you can do from, here we go, email accounts. But for now, go down and in the Software and Services tab, there should be a button called Quick Install, so click on that. Next, you should be able to see WordPress in the side column or the top menu bar, so click that. And this is actually a new layout. They give you a number of upsells which we don't need. All we need to do is install the free version of WordPress. So you should be able to see this box here, or you should be able to see a section called Install WordPress, and it should be free. When you see that, click Install. Your domain should automatically populate in this field here. If it doesn't, just select it from the drop down below. Leave this box here empty. We want our website, or we want WordPress to be installed on this domain. Next, let's put an admin email, and make sure you put the correct login or correct email address, perhaps your own personal email address, because you'll be sent your login details to that email account. And down the track, if you, for whatever reason, misplace your password, you can request a new one and you'll be sent that in your admin email. Admin user, you can be either admin or you can have your own name. I like to just keep it as admin. Enter your title of your website. Whatever your membership site is about. And enter your first and last name. If you've had any issues installing WordPress or getting up to this stage, just let me know. Go to emediacoach.com/help and I will help you as quickly as I can. So click on the Install WordPress button. If a screen like this pops up, just close it. There might be a number of upsells in or during the process, but once it's complete, you'll see this notification here. Your installation is complete. Click here to view your details. Now what I would do is just copy this and perhaps put it in a notepad. Just temporarily. Okay, so what this is your WordPress login URL. It'll be yourdomain.com/wp-admin. So if I just right click that and open that in a new tab, just note that sometimes it can take between about 15 to 20 minutes for this page to activate and load. So if it doesn't load for you, like it just happened to me, it hasn't loaded for me, just come back in say 10 to 15 minutes and try it again. If it's still not loading, come back in half an hour or an hour and go to this URL, hold down Control and F5 on your keyboard and it will refresh this page. If you're on a Mac, hold down Command and F5. So I'll be coming back in about 15 minutes to check if our login page has activated. There we go. That is what your login page should look like. Now this is known as the WordPress dashboard or WordPress admin login. And you'll need to access this page anytime you want to make any changes to your membership website. If you haven't been able to access this page, if you've waited a couple of hours and still do not see this page, then please do get in touch with me here, and I'll help you out. Okay, so the next thing to do is just get your username and password, perhaps just copy and paste. And then click the login button. If you come across any issues like this and you're not seeing the WordPress dashboard, please get in touch with HostGator through the live chat and they will help you out. Otherwise, what I just did is hold down Control and F5. I refreshed the page. I refreshed my browser and now it's coming up perfectly. On a Mac, I think it's Command and F5. Just hold those two buttons down, Control F5 or Command F5, depending if you're using a Windows or a Mac PC, and it should load for you fine. But if it doesn't, please do get in touch with HostGator and they will help you out. So welcome guys, this is your WordPress dashboard. This is an area that I'll make you very familiar with over the next hour or so. Basically, it's the engine behind your entire membership website. Now, before we go any further, there may be some of you who have purchased your domain from somewhere else, for example, GoDaddy, but purchased your hosting from HostGator. So now we need a way of connecting your domain and hosting. Now, if you purchased your domain and hosting from HostGator, then don't worry about this step. But this step is very important for those of you who have purchased your domain elsewhere. So just note down in this email, you'll see here 2 name servers. Just note that down somewhere on your computer. So as you can see here, I've noted it down on a notepad on my computer. Alternatively, another area where you can find your name servers is if you log into your cPanel and scroll down, you'll see in the left hand column there will be your 2 name servers located over here. All we need to do now is add these name servers to the location where you manage your domain. So I'm using GoDaddy here as an example, but it really doesn't matter where you purchased your domain. Just find the area where you need to update your name servers. So what I'll do, I'll just sign in to demonstrate. In GoDaddy, you just manage. So depending on where you bought your domain, just ask those people where you can update your name servers, otherwise known as DNS. Here we go, name servers, I want to manage that. And you will need to set custom name servers for your domain which you are using. Obviously this is just an example to show you what you need to do. All you need to do is copy each one of these name servers and add them into wherever you're managing your domain. Perfect. So now this may take a couple of hours to take effect. If your site wasn't loading before, wait some time and it soon will. So as you can see here, name servers, it determines where your domain points, and it's very important if you're hosting domain with another registrar. So all it's doing is connecting your domain and hosting. If you have any questions, get in touch with the registrar where you registered your domain, or get in touch with me at emediacoach.com/help, and I'll let you know how you can connect your domain and hosting. The very first thing that I highly recommend you do is change your password, because you will probably notice that this password that WordPress gives you by default is not very memorable, and there's no chance that you will be able to remember that. So to change your password, go and hover over the Users tab, and actually just click on the Users tab. Then click on your username. Now down the bottom, you should see 2 fields for entering your new password. So just enter your new password in there and repeat that, and then click on the Update Profile button at the bottom. All done. So what that's done is replace the default password on your WordPress admin login page. that page there. So now if I go back, if I log out by just hovering this area here, logging out, and if I go to our website /wp-admin and enter the new password, then log in. There you go. Now please do keep those details handy. You will need to log into this dashboard anytime you want to make a change to your membership website. Now that we've done that, the next thing I want to do is install the website design. So on the left hand side column, just hover over Appearance and click on Themes. Now for WordPress, a theme is basically a design. Now the theme we're going to use, I'll show you how to access that in a second. However, if you want to, you can look through the WordPress theme library and install any one that you want, and a lot of them are actually free. So by clicking on this link here, you'll be able to see a number, hundreds and maybe even thousands of themes that you can install and start configuring. However, we are going to be using a theme called Sparkling. What I will do to make things easy for you is I'll put a link to this particular theme in the description of the comments below, or the description of this video below, so you'll be easily able to access this particular theme and be able to download it. So go to this URL, click on the link I put in the description below, and click on the download button here. Now ensure that you save this somewhere on your computer that you can easily access. And now I can close that screen. The next thing we need to do is in the themes, in the Appearance theme section, we want to upload a theme. We want to browse, and we want to upload that theme that we just downloaded, Sparkling, and then click on the Install Now button. That will now upload the theme files onto our WordPress installation and allow you to use this theme for your membership website. It may take a few seconds, so be patient. Once that's done, it will give you a successful notification, and I'd like you to click on the Activate button. Cool, that's all done. Now, you may be excited to know that your website is already live and up and running, and that's what it currently looks like. You are live and on the web. Now we'll be making a number of adjustments. This is just the beginning. Okay, so go down to Settings and click on General. You can actually change the site title, so name whatever you want your membership website to be named as. You can change that if you like. Remove anything in the tagline. And in this section here, WordPress address, after the second slash, just put www. And I'll show you why. Because currently, your website doesn't have a www in front of it. Now, this is just a personal preference of mine. As you can see, it gets rid of that. You don't have to do this. It's just my personal preference. Make sure you do it for both fields, otherwise it may stuff up. Then go down and click on Save Changes. This will actually prompt you to log in again. Okay, so the next thing you need to do, again, hover over Settings and go to Permalinks. Currently, when you make a post on your website, it will give you a URL that looks like this. It's very long and tedious, and it's not ideal. So let's change to this here, post name. So any post you make will be simply www. whatever your domain is, / the title of your post. It's much cleaner and much simpler for the user as well as search engines. So click on that post name, Go down and save. Next, go to plugins. And there are a few plugins that are installed by default, so I'll be deactivating the ones we don't need. If you've got this one installed, HostGator WalkMe plugin, tick that. Tick the Jetpack plugin, tick Mojo Marketplace and the Supercache. You'll see a bulk actions drop down. Let's deactivate and apply. So let's deactivate all of those. We will be installing plugins down the track, and a plugin is basically an add-on to a website. It's another piece of functionality that you can achieve with WordPress. So for example, there are plugins for things such as a photo gallery, there are plugins for contact forms, or there is a plugin for Google Maps. There are thousands of plugins that allow you to do awesome things with WordPress, and I'll be showing you a handful of those, some really good ones later on. So for now, let's just deactivate those, and what I'll do, I'll also delete them. We don't need them to take up extra space on our drive. And that's it. Next, if you go to pages, you'll notice that there is a sample page that's automatically created, and you'll see that if you go to your website. So there's a Hello World sample post. So what we need to do is just delete any of those, so move to trash. And same for the posts. The Hello World post, let's trash that one. And that's all you need to do for configuring your initial settings for WordPress. Now, before diving into the membership side of things, I will give you a brief introduction into posts and pages and the differences between them. So let's start with pages. Okay, if I add a new page, now pages are best used for things such as a contact page or a frequently asked questions page, whereas posts are best used for actual posts or articles that you put on your website. Now, the main fundamental reason for this is because when you start a page up, and for example a contact page, within pages you cannot select what category you want pages to exist in, because of course they don't belong in one. A contact page is just a standalone page on your membership website. On the other hand, if you write a post, and I'll do an example post here as well. So I'm just going to copy and paste some text from another screen I have here. Okay, so with a post, you can actually select or add a category so that you can categorize different posts based on the category. So say for this one, you add a category called, in our case, say bait, fishing bait. We can add that category and we can save this post within this category. Now you'll see why this is extremely important in just a second when I explain the whole membership and setting up membership levels for your visitors. You'll see why this category is extremely important. So the main thing for you to remember is for any content that you're posting to your membership website, they must be done as posts, whereas pages will be used for things such as contact us, of frequently asked questions, or any other standalone pages of your membership website. What I'll do, I'll also give you a brief introduction into the something called featured images just before we get stuck into the membership side of things. Now, at the moment, we've added this post, and if we view our site, this is what it looks like. Now, we can actually add a nice big image, and to do that, go down to Set Featured Image. You'll be able to select a file or be able to drag and drop a file onto this page. So what I'll do, I've actually got some images that I've set up on another screen here. So what I'm going to do is just drag one of them across, and when I do that, you'll see that it starts uploading. and it gets uploaded and stored into what's known as your media library, and that will remain there. So let's set that as a featured image, and then let's update. And refresh the page. There you go, that's what it looks like now. It looks very, very nice. A user can go and click on that and see your entire article or post. Now, one more thing before we get started. This editor here is a visual editor. Whenever you're in the visual tab, you'll see all these options available, and it's just like Microsoft Word. What you see is what you get. You can put headings. You can say if that was a heading, you would use a heading setting there, etc., etc. I'm sure you're aware of how to use this. You can click on something and link and insert a URL and add a link. It's very, very simple. And if you're in the text tab, you'll be seeing all the code that goes behind all the visual stuff. So anytime you need to enter any code, we'll be entering it in the text tab. But for any content editing, do that in the visual tab. If you want to add any images throughout your articles, you can do that through Add Media. When you click on Add Media, you can choose from any images already in your media library, or you can upload new files. Say, for example, you wanted to embed some YouTube video. All you need to do is get the YouTube embed code, go to the text tab, and paste the embed code in the text tab. When you update, that video will be embedded. Now I'll show you all of that cool stuff later on in this tutorial, but there is a brief overview of how to use this content editor, how to add a featured image, and why you need to use posts. And that will be very clear to you in the next section, because now it's time to start setting up the membership side of this website. Okay, so now that we've finished the first two items on our to-do list, everybody's on the same page, and now it's time to set up and configure our membership functionality. So let's go back into the WordPress dashboard. What we're going to do is install a new plugin. Like I told you before, a plugin is basically like an extension of what you're able to do with WordPress. So hover over plugins, add new. And the plugin we're going to be using is one called Paid Memberships Pro. So just search that in the search box here, Paid Memberships Pro, and it will be this one here. Click Install Now, and then activate the plugin. Cool, so now once the plugin is activated, you should be able to see a section appear called Memberships. So let's just click on that. This is the dashboard that we will be using to set up the membership functionality of our website. The first thing we need to do is click on the Pages tab. Okay, now here WordPress can actually generate each one of these membership pages for you automatically. And you can do that by clicking this link here. So go ahead and click that link. There we go. The following pages have been created, and you should be able to see them within your pages. There you go. They've all been created for you automatically. So that's done. Now what we need to do is go into the Membership Levels tab. And we need to add our first membership level. So click on Add New Level. Now you can have an unlimited number of membership levels. You can potentially have a free level where people can sign up for free. You can have, say for example, a gold level, a platinum level, where each one costs a different amount. So it's completely up to you how many levels and what type of levels you want to implement. So let's give our level a name. I might call mine Fishing Masterclass. And this can be my gold level. Give your level a description. Obviously, all this information I'm setting up is for demo purposes. Enter a confirmation message. This will be shown when the user actually joins up to your particular membership. Down in billing details, a strategy I like to use personally is to have an initial payment that is very low and then set a recurring payment that is slightly higher. So it's completely up to you how you want to establish the billing method. You can choose to have just a one-off. So say you want them to pay $15 one-off and there'll be no recurring fee after that. So therefore, if you don't want recurring, keep this checkbox unticked. However, if you do want to enable recurring subscriptions, you'll need to tick this, and there will be a few more fields that you need to fill out. So it will ask for your billing amount for every period. So say for example $15 per one. You can choose from day, week, month or year. And like I said, a good strategy is to have a low initial payment to bring them in, get them hooked with some content, and then the next month after that they can be rebilled automatically at the higher rate. So it's completely up to you what strategy you want to use. Now, billing cycle limit, it's total number of recurring billing cycles for this particular level, including a trial period. If set to 0, it's unlimited, so I'll set mine to 0. You can enable a custom trial period if you need to. I won't be doing that. Say for example you wanted them to pay just $20 for the first 3 subscription payments, and in our case it would be months, so first 3 months. So you can choose to use that if you like. Leave the disable new signups unchecked. You would only check this if you want to hide this level from the membership levels page and do not want it to be visible to the public. And also leave this membership expiration unchecked as well. That's my recommendation. Now this is an important step here, categories. Remember how I said it is very important to set a category when you add a post. What we need to do is for any of our posts or any of your content that is restricted, you need to create a new category for those restricted posts. And I'll show you what I mean. So for now, let's just save this level, save all the info you've entered already. Now, if you go to posts, add new, or for now, actually just add a new category. So I'll right click on categories, open that in a new tab. What you'll see is a page here where you can enter a new category, and I'll actually name this the same thing that I named my membership level. Then go down and click add new category. Now if I go back into this membership level that I created, you'll see that the new category we created is now appearing. So click on that and click on save level, because what that is telling this feature to do is apply this level for any posts or any content that is assigned to this particular category. So let's do that. Now I'll show you what I mean. Let's add a new post. Once again, I'll just take some info I have from another screen. What you need to do is click on this category here that we created and then click publish. You can see now that the title shows. However, this content is restricted for Phishing Masterclass Gold members only, and there's a register button. What you can also do is you can present a short excerpt to get people hooked. So say the first couple of sentences are really attention grabbing, what you can do in the screen options area here, that drop down, enable excerpt, and then this area here will appear. Enter your excerpt in there and then update. Now when I refresh this page, I'll give you a demo of how that works in just a little bit. The next thing we need to do though is go to the Advanced tab. Now leave all this as default. The important thing to do here is the filter searches and archives. At the moment it's only showing posts for people who are already members, but we don't want that. We want to show it to people who are not members so that they can see the title, they can see the little teaser, and then they can be offered the option to register. So I want you to change that to no. Similarly, I want you to show excerpts. So you'll see in a second what an excerpt is. Change that to yes, show excerpts. These two settings are very, very important, so make sure you get that right. Thirdly, some people like to create a terms of service page. At the moment, we don't have a page that is our terms of service, and if you want, you can simply create a page. Actually, for now, I'll just save this. What you can do is create a page. You can have all your terms and conditions. Now when I refresh this, there we go. I can select that terms of service page, and this page is actually shown when a person is registering as a member. A link to this page is shown. So let's save settings. Now next, I'm sure you've been waiting for this all along. We want to figure out how to get paid from our members. And the way to do this is to set up our payment gateway, and that will be done through PayPal. So click on the Payment Gateway tab. Now if you go to paidmembershipspro.com/PayPal, that link there, you'll get directed to this page here, and it will give you some info on setting up your payment gateway. So the one we are going to use is PayPal Express, and it's got a setup guide here. Don't worry, because I'm going to be taking you through what you need to do, but just for your reference, this is available to you if you need it. Okay, so in the payment gateway and SSL, we are going to be using the PayPal Express method. That is one of the recommended methods for this plugin, so it works really well. It integrates really well with PayPal. The gateway we'll be using is Live Production. Sandbox is basically a testing environment. What we want is a live environment, so that any transactions that a user puts in will be a real transaction and we'll get paid for it. Now, gateway account email. If you don't already have a PayPal account, I really recommend you go to PayPal and sign up for a free account. The email address you use to sign up with PayPal will be your PayPal account email, and that will be the email address which is associated with your PayPal account and therefore is associated with any payments that you receive. So enter your one in there. Now the next three fields, API username, password and signature. We actually need to log in to our PayPal account. So basically you need to log into your PayPal account, and I will show you the steps you need to take to access this information and be able to seamlessly integrate with PayPal. So let's log in. I'll just close a couple of tabs I don't need. Obviously you'll see a lot of blurred screens because on this page there will be a lot of my personal information. Okay, the first thing you need to do is go to Profile and Profile Settings, and then go to My Selling Tools. What you want to look for is this area here, the API access. Click on Update. And the option you want to select is the one over here. We want to create our own API username and password. So let's request API credentials. Then we want to request an API signature. So let's click on that and then agree and submit. Now the information here when I click show is actually confidential. It's not something I should be sharing, and neither should you, but I'll give you an example here. So when I click show here, it gives me my API password, and that's one of the fields I need here. So basically we've got three pieces of information, our username, password and signature, and that's these three items here. So just click show on each one and copy and paste into this screen here. And then click on Done. Okay, I'm just going to remove these details here so that I can continue this video without disclosing this confidential information. Obviously you will keep yours in there and then click save when you're ready. The next thing you need to do is see this IPN handler over here. Just copy that whole URL. So copy all of that. Go back into your PayPal account. Go to Profile and Settings. And you want to look for the area for instant payment notifications. So click on Update. I've already entered mine in here. However, you will need to go in and paste that URL in there and then enable the Receive IPN Messages checkbox and then click on Save. Cool. Now the next thing we need to do is enable our recurring payments module. So to do that, back into the Profile area, Profile and Settings, in My Selling Tools, look for your My Automatic Payments section and then click on Update. This will allow you to manage the automatic recurring payments from your membership subscribers. So the thing you need to do is look for the Sign Up for Enhanced Recurring Payments link and click on that. Now, just a note, there's one thing I've found. Sometimes this can be a bit of an issue with PayPal. I've noticed that when I click this link, it doesn't always work the first time. And I'll show you a way that I found around this issue. So click on that link. See, it just redirects me to my dashboard, and it shouldn't do that. So one way I found around this issue, it's an issue with PayPal. Just open up, while you're logged in, just open up a new browser tab, and in Google, just search for enhanced or PayPal enhanced recurring payments. And see this link over here, enhanced recurring payments, sign up, PayPal. Click on that one there. And that's the page that I need to access. So when I clicked this link here and got booted off to my PayPal summary, there's something wrong with PayPal, but this is the page that I need to access. Because I'm logged in, it's still associated with my account. So that's a little workaround that I found. If it doesn't work for you, just do what I did there and make sure you can access this page. When you do, click on the agree and continue button. And that's it. We are now signed up for enhanced recurring payments, which will simplify the integration between our membership website and PayPal. Whenever a member subscribes or unsubscribes, that will all be managed automatically. So it's pretty cool. And believe it or not, that's all there is to integrating our site with PayPal. If you have any questions on the last few steps, please do give me a yell, or just go over the steps again and make sure you've done everything that I have done too. So I can log out of my PayPal account for now. Okay, and back in the WordPress dashboard, you will obviously have put in all of your information, your API, username, password, signature, copied this URL as I demonstrated. Next, in this currency section, you can select the currency that you want to bill your customers in. You can also enter a sales tax, which is optional. Now, this depends on which country you're in, which state you're in. It depends on a number of things. So I'd advise you look up the laws in your own state or country and then enter an applicable tax rate if you need to. I don't need to, so I'll be leaving that blank. Leave Force SSL to no, leave everything else as default, and then click Save Settings. Next, the Email tab. Okay. The From email is the email address that your new members will receive as the From address when they sign up for a membership. So obviously we don't want this WordPress@yourdomain.com. Change that to your own email address that you use so that you can respond to any customer questions if they reply straight back to you. And enter a From name. Now leave this checkbox unchecked. Leave all of these as default. For example, checkout. When a member checks out, we want to send the site admin emails. We want to be notified when a user's membership level has changed, or when an admin changes a user's membership level, when a user cancels their account, or when there's a billing update. So we want to be notified of all of that, so leave that all checked. I would recommend leaving this deselected. Reason being is members will already get an email from Paid Memberships Pro when they check out, so there's no need for you to double up on that. So I would leave that unchecked. When you've done all of that, click on Save Settings. So now that we've set everything up, you need to know how to allocate your posts or your content to the paid membership area. And that's what I'll show you next. So if I go to posts and add a new post, once again, I've got some info here on another screen, so I'll just copy and paste a sample post in here. Okay. Remember how we set up a category for our membership level and it was called Phishing Masterclass? Now if you would like this particular post to be hidden from view or to be locked from access from non-paid users, then you need to assign this post to this particular membership level, this particular category which is associated with that membership level. Okay? One more thing. I'll publish this before showing you that additional item and show you what that looks like. So currently we have our paid post. As you can see, it has a little bit of an excerpt and it has a note that this content is for Phishing Masterclass Gold members only, and there's a register button. However, these people can still see these other posts which have not been allocated to this particular membership level, so they are open for everyone to view. What I would advise is for you to add an excerpt. And now if this box isn't showing up, all you need to do is click on the screen options here and make sure the excerpt checkbox is selected, and you'll see this here. What that is, it allows you to give a little teaser to your visitors. So say for example you put that in the excerpt box and click update. There you go, your users will be able to see that little teaser and then be requested to register for accessing the entire article. See, even if they try to read more, they cannot. So currently this is what the register page looks like. It shows the membership level, it shows the price, and it allows them to select and then continue. There's the terms of payment, which I showed you we set up earlier, and allows them to continue payment and become a member to be able to access this content. So now I will do a live transaction and demo how this all works from the user's perspective. So if I just open the site in a private window, because I want to make sure I'm not logged into WordPress for this. So there you go, I'm not logged into WordPress. This is exactly what a user would see. They would be able to see any posts that are not locked down to a particular membership level. However, anything that is, they would see two options: the ability to log in for people who are already members and the ability to register. So if I click the register button, now just so you know, I will be making a few more tweaks after this demo. It will probably help your conversion rate, so stay tuned. I will do that right after this live transaction. So for now, they'll see these membership levels. Yep, Phishing Masterclass Gold, $1 now, 15 per month. Yes, that sounds good. I'll select. They will be asked to create an account. If they've already got an account, they can log in here. So as you can see, the interface is actually very nice and clean and user-friendly. So they would come here and enter their preferred username and a password, and they'd enter their own email address. Now if you set up a terms and conditions page, it would show on this screen here, and then they'd be able to check out and if you'd follow all the instructions that I showed you during the payment section and integrating the APIs and all of that stuff, this should work and they will be able to see this screen. So they can pay with credit card or they can pay via PayPal. Okay, so it's been authorized, and now they'll be clicking this button to complete payment. There we go. There is a live transaction of what the members see from their point of view. So they'll receive this thank you notification. Thanks for joining. Below are your membership account details. And furthermore, they will receive an email in their email inbox with their member details. So then what I would do as a user or a new member, I would probably view my membership account, view all of my details. And now if I go back and access the home page, you'll see that this post that was previously locked down, I can now access. So this post could have been anything. It could have been a podcast, it could have been a video, anything that's restricted or locked for access, they can now access as a paid member. So there you go, there is a live transaction. Now I'll be making a few more tweaks to help you make your membership website better and smoother. We'll be adding a login screen in the column, right-hand column here. We'll be adding sign up and login links to our menu, and we will also remove this membership bar so that when a user logs in, they don't see this ugly black bar over here. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please do let me know. The next thing that I would advise you to do is to add some text on this page here, just above this registration box, just so the member knows, or the potential member knows, what they're actually buying. So things such as, what your membership contains, the features, what they will get out of it. So to do that, go to Edit Page and just move this little code down a little, and then here you can enter any text you want. Once again, I'll be taking some text from another screen I have here, maybe something like this. When you're done, click Save. And now if you visit that page, you'll see that that text appears just before the selection. And that's good because it allows you to give a bit of a pre-sale or a short sales pitch into why this user should continue and become a member. The next thing I'd like to do is see how when they come from the home page, for example, and go to register, the title membership levels doesn't mean anything to them. It doesn't have any meaning. So a better title or better call to action in this case would be something like sign up here. And to do that, simply just go back into that page and change the title from membership levels to whatever you want it to be. Then update. There we go. Next, I just remembered I didn't show you what it looks like when a user comes in and tries to log in, or an existing member tries to log in. So I'll show you what that looks like now. So they would come to this page here and they would click on this login button. What would happen is they get kicked off onto this WordPress login that looks identical to your WordPress dashboard login, and to be honest, that's not a great user experience. So what I want to teach you how to do is put this login box as part of a page on your site, so that login box appears on your actual website and not on a different page like you just saw. To do that, go back into your dashboard and go to plugins, add new. We want to install a new plugin called Theme My Login. So type that in, Theme My Login, and it's this one here. Install that one and then activate the plugin. Cool. Now that that's done, just go to the Theme My Login area on the sidebar. Keep these two checkboxes checked. Go down, and we want to enable themed profiles. So make sure you click that checkbox and then save changes. Now what you'll see is another area called theme profiles once you've made that change. So click on that. And we want to make sure that all of these theme profiles are selected. If you want, deselect administrator because that's you. You may not want to change your own login screen, but it doesn't really make a difference, so let's leave it selected anyway and click on Save Changes. Okay, now here is the cool part. Now let me log in to the site as an existing member. Now when I click the login link, see how I can log in directly from this page. I'm not shown an ugly looking WordPress login screen, and that's absolutely perfect. It really amplifies and streamlines the user experience on your membership website. So they can come to this login page, they can use their username and password that they signed up with, and there we go, they are logged in and able to access all of your logged content. Next, what I want to do is place that sign up form in the sidebar over here. So if I close that for now, and back in the dashboard, go to Appearance and then click on Widgets. Now you'll notice that the sidebar has a number of widgets in it currently. Each one of these recent posts, archives, categories correspond to these items here. So you can click on that arrow there and choose to delete any that you do not want to show. Actually, I should have left categories in there. Anyway, so to add the login to your sidebar, there should be a widget called Theme My Login. That's the plugin that we just installed. So just go and drag and drop that into your sidebar. Leave all of these checkboxes selected. I like to remove the gravatar. A gravatar is a photo. I just like to remove that because it looks messy. But leave the rest in there and click Save. Okay, now let's have a look at the site. So there you go. This is what the user will see. They will see the login screen available in the sidebar, and they can easily log in and access their content. So it really makes the user experience for members a lot better. Next, what I highly recommend you to do is to add a sign up or register and the login links into your menu. So I know we haven't done this before, so I will take you through how to do that. Basically, if you go to your dashboard and go to Appearance and Menus, give your new menu a name, so call it your header menu, create. Here you can add any items you want in your main menu. So for example, we already have pages here in our most recent, which include our login, our register, and we can even add a contact page and then click Add to Menu. I'll save that now and show you what that looks like. One more thing, just come down and select Primary Menu. There you go, they are the links that you just used to add in your menu. Another thing you can do is you can actually create a custom link. So say you wanted to have a home link so that they can visit the home page very easily. You can add that to menu. And the way you can rearrange items is just by dragging and dropping like you see here. If you wanted to create a drop-down menu, and this will be really cool later on if you've got categories that you want to add. This is just an example to show you how it works. There we go, that's a drop-down menu. Once again, you can rearrange items within the drop-down. So for now, that's done. We have added the login screen to the sidebar. We have added our register link to the top nav, and it's very, very user friendly. The next thing I want to do is get rid of that dirty black bar that comes up the top of the screen when a member is logged in. To do that, go back into your dashboard, and I think I've signed out here, so I may have to sign back in. So in your dashboard, go to plugins, add new. Search for a plugin called hide admin bar from non-admins. And that's the one there. So we only want to hide this black bar for people who are not administrators on our website. I don't want to hide it from my account because I actually find this bar very useful to access various parts of my site. Or say if I'm on a page, I can edit that page just by clicking on the edit button, like you see there. So hide admin bar from non-admins, install now, and then activate, and that's it. So let's try that from a user's point of view. There you go. So any member will be able to log in and they won't see that dirty black bar on top, which is just a major distraction. The next thing I want to demonstrate is how to create additional membership levels. So say for example, you want to create a level where members can members can register for free membership. So maybe that can be like a bronze membership, then the gold can be a paid membership. So I want to show you how you can do that. So go back into membership levels, and then add a new level as per before. Give this one a name. So in this case, let's call it bronze. Okay. As per before, enter a description and a confirmation message that suits you. Now, if you want to create a level that is free for members, do not put anything in the billing details. Leave that blank. Leave these checkboxes blank as well. Now save the level. We'll come back and add the category. For now, save the level. Okay, so now let's add a new post. Okay, what we want to do is add a new category, and we want to apply it to a category called Fishing Masterclass Bronze, and this is going to be our free category. So once we add that category, we can even put an excerpt as per before so the users can get a bit of a teaser. Okay, so I've published that. What I need to do now is go back into that membership class and select the bronze category. We want to apply this membership level, the free membership, because we've put $0 as a payment to the bronze class, and therefore any posts that we apply to that class or to that category, like the one we just added, will be visible to users that sign up for a free membership, or yep, that's correct, for a free membership. Now it's important to remember that people that pay should also be granted access to that particular post. So in this example, the bronze class, we want to leave it open for bronze members, but we also want to leave it open for our gold members as well. It only makes sense to do that. So now let's give this a try. Okay, so here is our new post. This one is the bronze, for bronze members only, and you can see that here. And this one is only for gold members. So what should happen when I register here? Let's just see what happens. Register. Yep, I've got two options. I can either join this level by paying, or I can join this level with a free membership. So let's select the free membership. Let's select a username. Obviously there's no PayPal button because there's no payments involved. So there we go, we've become a member of this free membership level. As per before, we have our own membership account, we just have not paid any money to become a member of this particular level. So now if I access the home page, yep, there we go, I can see this full post, but I still cannot see the post that's only visible for gold members. So there you go, there's a perfect example of how to add multiple layers of membership onto your website. Okay, this brings me to my next point. What happens when a user cancels their membership through PayPal? Basically, they'll go in and cancel their payment. What happens? So I will show you a demonstration of how that actually works. So take this member, for example, our original member, Michael, who signed up for $1 up front, then $15 a month. Currently, he's part of the gold membership level and can access content based on that membership level. For example, that post there. So now say he logs in to PayPal and then cancels his subscription. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now from the customer's point of view. By the way, you can also cancel a membership on their behalf as well. It's not just the customer who can cancel. There we go. That's the payment subscription, and I can click the cancel button here to cancel and stop any future transactions. There we go, this profile has been cancelled and cannot be reactivated. No more recurring payments will be made. So now as the user, that's all done. I'm logging out of PayPal. Now back on our membership site, if I as the user come back here and try to log on, what happens? I still have my account. However, I cannot access the content that I was previously able to access. See, there you go. The content is now blocked. I can no longer access that content. So as you can see, it is highly automated. You really don't need to do much other than putting out good content time after time. The administrative side of things is all taken care of. Once a user cancels their account or cancels their recurring payment, they will no longer receive access to their content. If you have any questions about that, please do ask in the comments and I'll do my best to answer it for you. Now we will go ahead and add an image slider on our homepage. So back into the dashboard, the first thing that you should know is that the image slider is actually based on the featured image that you add to your posts. So as a reminder, this is your featured image down here. Your image slider will pick up the images in your featured image and display that on the home page. And the way to activate that is, first go into Appearance and the Theme options. The first checkbox here, do you want to display image slider on the home page? Yes. Next, we need to select a category from which the posts will be selected. And based on those posts or the featured images in those posts, the image slider will display. So I know I've got a few posts in this category here, so I'll select that. You can select a maximum number of slides and then go down and save options. Right now, if I refresh the site, it might not look perfect, and there's a reason for that. Let me just refresh and check. Okay, so here is our image slider. That's the first slide, that's the second slide. And you can see that this image actually isn't big enough for, or I should say wide enough for the screen. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to go back into these posts. So that one there and this one here, since they're both part of that category. And I want to remove the featured image there, and that's not the one, it must be the other one. This one here, I'll remove that. And what we need to do now is, or what you need to do is grab some images that are quite large, much larger than any screen size, and then crop them to the same dimensions. So I've got a couple of images here. I've already cropped before this video, so just keep in mind you'll need to crop the images to be approximately 450 pixels tall, and the width just needs to be wider than the size of the screen. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and upload those. So what I need to do is go into the featured image and upload the images that I've cropped to about 500 pixels tall. And I'll upload them as the featured images for these particular articles or these particular blog posts. So that's one done. Update. And now the second one. Cool, now let's have a look at our membership site. There you go, that's the homepage image slider, and now both of those images should be the same height because we've cropped them to exactly the same proportions. Next, I will talk about how you can customize the menu over here and also implement a drop-down menu. So back in your WordPress dashboard, under Appearance, you'll see there's a link for menu. Now this is a very intuitive drag and drop system. For any items that you want to add, you can either select them from the pages list. As an example, tick that and add to menu. you can rearrange items, and then when you save, they will appear in that order in the menu. You can delete just by expanding and clicking the remove link. You can add custom links, so I can add a link to anything I want. And add that to a menu. So just to give you an example, obviously all of the stuff that I do now is simply for demonstration purposes, just so you can learn how this all works. So there's a couple of things which I would recommend you to do. Once you've got a number of posts in different categories, what I would recommend you do is add a menu item for that particular category. So if I go to categories and say this item here, this category has a number of articles, and we want to add that category to the menu so that when users come to the site, they can click on this category and see the list of all the posts you've made within that particular category. So, okay, all I need to get is the URL for this particular one, and you can do that by clicking View. There we go. So that's a listing of posts that fall within that particular category. All you need to do is copy and paste that URL, go back in here, use that as a custom link, and then name that whatever you need to name it. So say Fishing Masterclass. Add that to the menu. Another thing you can do is actually link to specific posts and have a drop-down menu. So say for example I want to link to a couple of these posts, so I'll open them in a new tab just so I can get the URLs. So that's the URL for the first one. I'll also copy in the title, add to menu, then I'll drag and drop that and indent that below the parent item. Now I'll do the same for the other two. And we can drag and drop this, and also within submenus you can also rearrange the order in which they appear. And click Save Menu. Now if I just refresh the site, there we go, we have a new drop down menu, and you can see how that works right there, and it looks really good. So basically use your imagination, decide how you want to structure your membership website, and then create your structure in that way. If you have any questions about the menu items, please do ask in the comments below. That brings me on to the next topic, how to change the hover color of these particular items and also the hover state of the drop down menu, because I don't particularly like this default red color. Similarly, you can also change the color of this icon here and the read more icon, and you can do it very easily. Just go back into theme options, appearance, theme options. In the main tab, you'll see there is something called element color, and that will allow you to change the color of this button and this icon. So let's change that to something a bit nicer, say a grayscale. Let's try that. Cool, that looks a lot nicer already. And then I can change the hover state of these items here as well. So if you go into the header tab, there are two things you need to change. The top nav item hover color, this one here. I recommend you make that a light color because it's a dark background. So select one, and then the other thing you need to change is this top nav drop down item background. And that's the drop down hover state, and I recommend you make that slightly darker. Okay, let's save that and see what that looks like. Perfect. That looks much nicer. So feel free to go in and customize that any way you want. You can also customize this grey box here. You can make that a different color by changing the top nav background color. But of course, if you change the color there, you may have to change the color of the rest of the items because it may blend in. So you may need to contrast the rest of the items depending on what color you change your top nav background color to. But I like this and I will leave it just as it is. Next, I will show you how to customize the sidebar that you see here. To do that, back into your WordPress dashboard, if you go to Appearance and Widgets, and you'll see the sidebar section. So if you expand that, you'll see that there are a number of tabs within that section. Now, you can rearrange the order in which these tabs appear over here in the back end, and that will reflect when you update your site in the front end. Similarly, you can remove any items you don't want. So let's have a look here. Okay, so categories, let's leave that as is. We do want our users to navigate through the different categories of our membership website. Recent posts, I would suggest leaving that too. You can get rid of the search bar if you like. So the way to get rid of something is just expand that out and click on the delete button. And then that will disappear from the front end when you reload the site. Now the next thing that I'll show you is how to add any other content in the sidebar. So say you want to add some text, maybe an image, or say embed a video. Basically, you can use the sidebar in the same way that you can use posts and pages. I will show you how you can install a visual editor like the one you see here. So you can enter any text, basically anything you want, like a word editing software, but in the sidebar. So to do that, we'll need to install a new widget, a new plugin, I should say. So go to Plugins, Add New. Search for one called Black Studio. And that's the one there, the Tiny MCE widget. Install that. And then activate. Okay, now if you go back into Appearance and the widget section, you should see a new item in here called Visual Editor. So now if I drag and drop that Visual Editor into the sidebar, you'll see now that I can enter any text I want and basically treat this section like a word editor. So say I wanted to add a video, I'll show you how you can do that. Let's choose some video as an example. Maybe I'll choose this one. Now if I go to the embed button and I will create a custom video size. Okay, that should be okay. Now if you want to add any code, all you need to do is go to the text tab and add it in there. It won't work if you add code in the visual tab. So the text tab is all the code behind the visual stuff. So now if I save that, and then I refresh our website, there you go, and we can add space after the paragraph as well. So that's basically how you can add anything you want in the sidebar and customize it to look any way you want. If you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comments below. Next, I'll show you how you can add a beautiful image gallery to your membership website. So the first thing I'll do is add a new page, and I'll call it Gallery. I will set the template to be a full width template, so it will take up the width of the entire page. Okay, now what you need to do is add media, and here you need to click on Create Gallery. Now you can choose from images you've already uploaded into your media library, or you can upload new files, and I've got a few that I've prepared, and just for demonstration purposes, so I'll use this bunch of images I've got here. So what I did there was click on the first, hold down Shift on my keyboard, click on the last, and it will select all. Or you could do that. Then click open, and it will upload all of your images that you want to add. This may take a few minutes, so just wait till all of your images are uploaded, and then we'll go to the next step. Now that they've all uploaded, just go down and click on Create a New Gallery. In this drop down here, Link to, click on Media File, and then you can select the number of columns you want, and I normally select 4 or 5. I normally select 5. You can randomize the order if you like, and you can choose the size of the images. Actually, let's try something a bit different. Let me choose medium sized, and I'll choose 3 per column. I'll choose 3 columns. Here you can drag and drop the images if you want to rearrange the way they appear on your gallery page. When you're ready, just click on Insert Gallery. Now let's click Publish and see what that looks like. The formatting is slightly off because I think some of the images are of different sizes. So what I'll actually do, I'll go back in here and click on the edit icon. I'll actually select thumbnail and have 5 columns. Then update. Now the rendering should be a little bit better. Yep, there we go. So now what happens when we click on an image? It opens up into a larger one, and the user needs to basically click the back button to go back to your gallery. This isn't ideal, so I'm going to show you a really cool trick. If you just go back into your WordPress dashboard and go to Plugins, Add New, look for a plugin called the Simple Lightbox. And that's the one there. Just install now and activate that plugin. Now there are a few things you can do with this Simple Lightbox. You can look at the settings in your own time. I won't go through all of this, but you can customize this particular plugin, but I'll show you what it actually does. If I refresh this site, now when I click on an image, you'll see it doesn't open up into a random page. It actually opens up into this beautiful Lightbox feature, and the user can actually scroll through your entire image gallery. So it's really nice. It's really user friendly. So there you go. That is how to add an image gallery to your membership website. And if you notice there's stuff like this when you hover over an image, that's purely because there is some data behind that image. So if I go back to that page, or if I edit this page, see that there? So I can remove that caption and that will no longer appear. Similarly, you can add custom captions so that when a person hovers over the image, they are shown the caption that you want them to see. But if you have any questions, as always, just ask in the comments. Last but not least, I'll show you how to add a contact form to your membership website. So to do this, go back to plugins and add a new plugin. This plugin we use will be extremely simple. There won't be much setup at all. Just type in BWS contact form. That's the one there. Install that and activate. When you do that, you should see a section in the sidebar column here, BWS. So just click on the contact form link. And you've got a few settings that you can change in the Pro version, but that's fine because we don't really need to change much. All you need to do is enter the email address that you want the messages to be sent to when somebody fills out your contact form. So this would be your own personal email address. Then click Save Changes. And believe it or not, that's all you need to do as far as setup goes. Now get this little tag over here. This is known as a shortcode, including the brackets. So grab that, copy. If you haven't already, create a page called Contact Form or Contact Us. I've already got one here. So what I'll do now, I will just go to this page and paste that shortcode. And that is where the form will be generated. What I can also do is I can put some text above that. And then choose a full width template and update. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. There is our contact form. That's the text we put above the form, and anywhere you input this little tag over here, that is where the contact form will appear. So you can add this on any page that you want, really. It's really up to you. So when a user comes in, they can type their message in, click submit. They should receive a confirmation page like this. Thank you for contacting us. And you will receive that message in your email address that you use to set up this plugin. So that email address that you put in there. And that's all there is to it. So that concludes this video on how to make a membership website. I've taken you through everything from setting up a site to adding the membership functionality to restrict content based on whether the users are a member or not. So they've got the option of logging in if they are a member, or they can register, and after registration they will have access to the locked content. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me via the comments below, and please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because I will be putting out more videos in the future to help you make more money from your membership website. Thank you for watching.